Hello, everybody. Hopefully, I am live and everybody can hear me. If you come into the chat, let me know if you can hear me. I'm just going to work on some scenery while I wait to see if anybody comes in. Let's move these out of the way. If anybody does come into the chat, let me know if you can hear me okay. Hello, sir. You can hear me fine? Thank you very much. How's the weather in your part of the world? We have no smoke today, which is a nice thing. Well, that's okay then. It's not too bad at all. I'm just working on some scenery today until some more people come into the room. I got to get this scenery done for some play testing. For anybody wondering what I'm doing is I make my own pigment washes, and I'm doing a dust collection, and it basically looks like dust and sand in the corners. And then I go over it with some other different kinds of dusts and sand pigments and stuff. Yeah, hurricane weather's not fun. So I put the dust and built up dirt and grime and stuff in the corners and along places where it would collect. Waiting to see if anybody else shows up. I mentioned to a few people I was going to do it around 3 p.m. my time. Oh, still need some right here. Try a different one now. Yeah, we need to make some more. Sometimes I make my pigments out of the, I use Vallejo pigments and stuff like that, but a lot of the time I take chalk pastels, artist pastels and stuff, and I make my own. And I mix mine to make it liquid. I mix mine with 70% IPA, so it dries quicker. And it seems to adhere to surfaces better too. I need a little bit more. I'll try to talk as much as I can, but sometimes it's hard when I'm trying to concentrate while mixing. Excuse me. Yeah, that stuff works really good too. I've used that before too, especially on. I did a 5x9 table for a convention many years ago, and that's what I used was the pigment that you use in construction for concrete. Let's move some roofs here. Yeah, I'm all in favor of making things cheaper. Hello. How's it going, Greg? I just came on about 10 minutes ago. Just working on some scenery. So what's new, Greg? Sweet, Elf Strike set up for the weekend. That's awesome. Hi, Ashley. Just doing some work on the scenery that I need for playtesting. Now that we can get back to playtesting again. We had an issue with one of our playtesters. Then it turned into a not so minor problem after he involved a lawyer, of all things. But it's all been sorted out. He's been dealt with. So now we can get back to it. No, it was pretty bad. I'm watching what I say. I don't want, him listening and trying to cause more problems. The only person that caused a problem was somebody that completely did not understand what being a playtester was. Everybody else, they've playtested other games before, and they were fine. Didn't cause a problem at all. Trying to get the all the dust and stuff into the corners. Yeah, it was a mess. It actually cost me money. I was not impressed at all. As part of the agreement, I get some of my money back. That's going to be paid by the person that I paid out in legal fees. And just so who's in the chat and who comes in to see the recording later, you cannot copyright a game mechanic. And that was part of what this whole problem was. Because the guy came up with something that we didn't end up using. But basically, I'm watching what I say here. He tried taking over the rules and wanted his name not as a playtester, but as the person that's developing the rules. And he was brought in as a playtester, and he signed forms to be a playtester. So yeah. And apparently he didn't tell his lawyer all that stuff. So his lawyer was a little bit shocked when I provided all that. Yeah, it cost us probably 4 months, 5 months worth of time that we couldn't work on it, because my lawyer was advising me until it was straightened out to not work on it. So that's why I've been working on all this scenery for the last 4 months, because I realized that a game about urban combat needed like more buildings. Yes, what's in the slow cooker? Yeah, there was a lot of attempts at bullying the other playtesters as well, but they've playtested things before, so they knew that this wasn't proper behavior, and they backed me up completely. Initially, that's how I found out there was a problem, was the other playtesters. Hi, Wargaming China. How's it going? Hey, if you guys haven't checked out his channel, you guys should go check out his channel. It's really, really interesting. Yeah, well, that'll teach me to bring in somebody that's never really play tested before. Like I've got a lot of people locally that would want to play like play test, but I happen to like I've play tested quite a few rule books, and I know that unless you have the knowledge how to play test and what information you're supposed to be giving to the person that is developing a game, yeah, it's kind of awkward and it's kind of hard. So I know these guys because I've play tested other rule systems with them. Like I said, I'm trying to get these buildings done so we can get back to work, because I really wanted to release the book by November, the first campaign book. for the it'll be the 20th anniversary for the actual battle. I've got like I got power poles and lights to do. I've got all this like scatter that goes into the alleyways and around doorways and buildings and stuff like that. I've still got to weather and paint. I've got 2 mosques printed, and I still haven't one more to print yet. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that one done in time, but I've got 2 mosques printed because the city is known as the city of mosques. Where did I put that? And these liquid pigments, they dry fairly quickly because, like I said, with most of them I put 70% IPA in there to help them dry and adhere to things. Hey, Wargaming China, are you building anything cool right now? That's how I found you, because I saw all the cool things you were making. What were you working on the first video I watched you? The first video I think you were making some of your Japanese Navy patrol boats. I think that's what you were making the first video I watched. So how big of a game are you playing on the weekend, Greg, for Alpha Strike? Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, my rules take into effect different things that soldiers come in contact with, um, like dysentery. It's one of the interrupt cards in my game. And I like putting those kind of like things in because those things actually happen and they can affect things, like like you saying putting in the opium effects on troops. That's cool. That's what happened, you know. Steak and eggs. Yeah, you gotta have energy for the game. Yeah. I decided to paint some of the other accessories that go on top of the roofs and in the alleyways separately, because with the first one I did, it was too awkward to get to places to actually paint some of the stuff. Let this dry a little bit. Okay, where's that brush? Waiting to see if Mutt comes in. Or McMurray. McMurray showed up just as I signed out yesterday. Ah, that sucks. Well, hopefully his day is almost over. I still got more satellite dishes and other stuff that I gotta hook to these buildings. I've got ladders and stuff so you can go up on the roofs. The only thing I don't like about the pigments is when I'm using dry ones and they get all over me. You didn't miss much, Charles. It's just me yammering away and working on some buildings. As soon as I get this block done, I think I'm going to work on one of the mosques or the big apartment building. I'm dreading the big apartment building. The only good thing about the apartment building is it's mostly ruined. so I can make it look like torched and burned. And I find the pigment does a lot of the work for me on these final stages, because apparently that city has huge sandstorms and stuff. So a lot of things are just covered in dust and sand. Been busy building, rebuilding inventory spreadsheets for my games. Cool. Well, some of these roofs are tight. So I don't know if anybody noticed that I put up a website now, and I put up my blogs now. I was putting them somewhere else before, and now I put them on my own page or my own website. I'm going to try and do a live a few times a week. If it's more than a few times a week or less, than I just don't want to make plans for certain times and stuff, because it never works out for me. Not with all my medical appointments and everything else. So I figured 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon works for me right now. So this is going to be my initial amounts of dust and dirt, sand. I layer it on. If I get too much on, I get a little bit of IPA on a Q-tip and just take it away. That's okay. We're gaming. Okay, now I'm gonna get some of this on here. Yeah, I slowly build up the pigment where dust and sand would accumulate. And then I give it one more coat of dust after I put on the posters and advertisements. Like on my other buildings, I put like Pepsi and propaganda posters that are Middle Eastern looking. I didn't use real ones. I used like made up ones. They look pretty realistic though. Okay, talk to you later, Wargaming. I really do like his stuff. It's very interesting. I learned so many new things watching his channel about China. Well, looking at the screen here, it looks like the buildings are slowly looking pretty dusty. I figured I'd come on for about an hour before I have to wake my wife up to go to the hospital for work and make her dinner. So I figured 3 o'clock in the afternoon works out really good. And I'm hoping these buildings are going to be really nice for the pictures, for the book. I'm trying to use some art, but mostly photographs that I take of the buildings with the miniatures. I wonder if McMurray's at work. There we go. Yeah, definitely working with pigments. It's messy, but boy, does it look good afterwards. Trying to blend it in. Okay, talk to you later. There's another channel you should check out. Gamers with Gamers with Coffee. uh, yeah, I would love to use some real photos, but getting permissions for certain photos, it's not easy. And I've looked into pictures that have open licensing, but there's not a lot for, especially for that subject, for the Battle of Fallujah. So and another thing that I need, that I like in rule books, is pictures that actually are diagrams as well, showing you how to do things. Oh, you meant photos of minis. Oh, okay. I misunderstood. But yeah, I like photos that show you how to do something. I'm one of those rule books guys that goes, show me. I don't want to just read it. I want to see it. And I want to make the rule book so that even if English is not your first language, by looking at examples, you can try to figure out how it works. Because I find that I've bought rule books that have been in Spanish, and they were well laid out in that they had pictures describing, you know, A is moving to B and stuff like that, and I could figure it out with even my basic knowledge of Spanish. It's starting to look like we got dust on the roofs. I don't want to not show the blacks. I kind of feather it out so that you can still see the black of the asphalt and stuff. And like I said, if I put too much on, I can just go in later and I can just take some isopropyl alcohol or thinner or something and just kind of like wipe it away a little bit. Now what am I going to do? Oh, I got to move that one. Brush outwards. Yeah, I find if I feather it out, I just keep feathering it out towards the edges. And then this is probably not too exciting. I just wanted to get on here and chat a little bit. And anybody that comes in on later on, you can watch me try to make the buildings look dusty, I guess. Flip this around. Here, I can see better. I still have some of these roof sections they've got holes for magnets, which I still have to mount into the holes so the roofs stay on. I've got like piles of garbage in the alleyways. I glued some in, but not all. Garbage cans as well. Yeah, I'll be doing more lives. It's great uh, therapy, I guess, for my PTSD. And hopefully I can get some people to join in and come on the actual chat too. I think I need to do some weathering around the doors. Doors and windows. Do a little bit along the tops. Got some air conditioners on the buildings. We got some, at least one satellite dish so far, but I'm going to put more on the roofs, but I want to paint them and weather them a little bit differently and do along the edges. Do it kind of erratic so it doesn't look weathered in a way that makes it look artificial. Yeah, I agree. I always like looking to see what everybody's into. And like I said, it's great for my PTSD. It gets me doing something. It's starting to look good. Like I said, I got like posters and advertisements and I got power poles and debris and garbage that goes in the alleyways, bicycles leaning up against walls, all kinds of stuff that I have to add yet. And it's all movable so that the miniatures can go down the alleyways and through buildings and stuff like that. Hey, Charles, welcome back. I picked up a copy of War Games Illustrated. Well, actually, I picked up two copies, one for my brother and one for me. And it came with some of those new Warlord Age of Hannibal sprues. I thought it was supposed to come with bases for the miniatures as well, but there was no bases, which I find is kind of weird. But that's okay. I don't mind. It's free miniatures. They look interesting. And I always like a good War Games magazine. I don't normally buy War Games Illustrated anymore. I'm more of a WSS guy. But it looks really cool. It looks like they had like 4 or 5 different sprues that randomly came with the issues. I think we got 2 Carthaginian sprues. Oh man, you could have got the elephant sprue. Man, I like elephants. That's cool. Looks like some good articles. let this dry for a little bit. I'm going to be signing out in about 10 minutes here. I figured I'd do an hour when I come on, unless I got like other people on here with me, like in the live in the chat. But it looks like I'm going to probably just do an hour at a time. It's probably good. Like I said, it'll give me time to get my wife's dinner ready for her. Let's try a little bit of this. Yeah, the roofs are starting to come together. I can see some of them, they need some blending and work still, but it's starting to come together. Yeah, spray pan. I don't use spray cans that often anymore, except on scenery. I usually use my airbrush actually more than anything, and that's partially to do with the kind of weather we have here in the winters. It's too damn cold. Yeah, we've got a local bookstore that about 5 of us in the general area got together and asked them to bring in War Games magazines. If we didn't do that, we wouldn't have gotten any. We'd always have to, like, if we were like in a major city, we would be able to get them probably, but no, we live too far away from some major cities, so it's lucky we got the bookstore that we do have. Yeah, I'm hoping to have enough buildings to cover the 5x9 table for some playtesting for the end of the month. Yeah. We have a few here. There we go. Oh, Jesus. Covered in the stuff. I gotta let it dry a little bit more. So I'm wiping off some stuff that I shouldn't wipe off now. I got like 3 different colors of pigmented dust that I put on. This is just 2. The last color I put on, like I said, after I've done all the posters and all that. That way it all ties in. And that way the posters and things with vibrant colors like a Pepsi sign or something like that still stand out. Probably going to be using some oil wash on a couple mechanical parts just to make them look more weathered. And I'll probably find I've got some gutters that I still have to put on one end of the building, and some downspouts, and I've got propane tanks and a bunch of other stuff I got to hook on. I always start with, like I said at the beginning of this, I always start with places you think the wind would blow dust and sand, and I make those the heaviest places where I put the strongest tone of pigment in, and then I just go from there and I lighten it up. And I actually go in. That's the other thing I do is I go into these corners and stuff, and I'll put like I've got bottles, water bottles, and all kinds of other stuff, and I'll put one in with some very, very fine pigmented sand, so it looks like it's piled up a little bit, so that you see where the sand is being pushed. Okay, guys, I'm going to call it here. I've been on for an hour. Thank you for watching. Thanks for joining in on the chat. Thanks for Wargaming China and Telemachus and Charles and Greg and Ashley for dropping in. And I will probably be back tomorrow afternoon around the same time. Okay, guys, have a great night, and thanks for